Welcome to the channel, Classic F1 fans. So we got another one of these models from the Kyosho Tyrrell, or Tyrrell collection. I say Tyrrell because I think that's from Blade Runner. But I don't know how this name's really pronounced. This was an actual person, I believe. I'm looking for a date. This collection came out in 2014, not that long ago. And then if you want to pause, there are the other models in it. Okay. So I got number 3, which I believe is Satoru Nakajima was the driver of this one. The other driver was Jean Alesi. I guess he's the more favored driver of the day. There you go. So raced around the 1990 season, and it didn't win anything. It wasn't a successful race car, but it still has some history to it because you'll notice in these images the nose is raised, but the front wings are still low to the ground. This was the first car to do that. According to Wikipedia, designers Harry Postlethwaite and Jean-Claude Migeot, I'm mispronouncing those names of course, they're credited with coming up with this design. They realized that downforce, if you can create a high speed air creates a low pressure, right? And so it creates a reverse wing, creating downforce. So previously the wing was just flat across, and that was blocking a lot of wind and sending it over the car instead of under it. So they realized that if they raise the nose, they can get more air under the car, but you need downforce in the front, and that's why the wings are still low to the ground. So every Formula One car pretty much copied this by the 1996. So these guys were the first one to really put this into action, but unfortunately they didn't win anything. And you can see it's a sad team. There's no sponsorship. This is the only one I could find with the number 3 on it. So Epson was a printer company. PIA makes lights, but that's about it. Not much sponsorship on this particular F1 car in the real world. Alright, let's get into the model here. So yeah, looking at this thing, right, it is raised. It's a plastic front end, and you'll notice they're actually canting in they're kind of like barge boards here on the front wing, sending air to the radiators. Curious about the bottom. Is it plastic? It's riveted in 2 spots. It does tell you what it is. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you the year that it raced, so I'll have to add a sticker to that later. Alright, and then you're going to find exposed axle ends on these Kyosho F1 cars, at least the blister pack ones, but it's a black wheel, so it's not so obnoxious to look at. But there's no air passing between the spokes. They're just too small. Alright, but at least there's air passing through most of the suspension arms. I do feel like maybe this should be air right here, but they did the best they could. Okay, well, the sponsorship does look pretty clear. It's not a decal, it's just tampo printed paint, so that's good. And then we have some harness details for the cockpit and the steering wheel. It's a little thick, but it's okay. Better than a Hot Wheels at least. Looks like there could be paint rash or some sort of contaminant right there. And actually not the best paint application of the white over the blue. It's just something wrong. This is used. Perhaps it was actually displayed before by the previous owner and fell off a bookshelf. No sponsorship up there, but that's actually accurate to the real car. The sponsorship here. It's power. Oh, that's the race car driver's name. That's quite legible. Nakajima there. Alright, the tires have Pirelli printed on them. Didn't even notice that before. And they're nicely rounded. The ground effects here of the base looks good. Whoops, sorry. Unfortunately, there's some extra plastic flash from the mold process here, but it's not here. And then, yeah, that looks pretty bad. It's kind of crooked. The wheel, janky wheel. I'm going to assume these might be exhaust tips, but I really don't know. The wing here, this is all blanked out here, blanked in, same with here. Yeah, it's not the greatest model. It's not the greatest car in the real world either, so all you need to know is really it started the whole trend of the upswept nose cone. Oh, yeah, it does roll. So we'll get a few other F1 cars. So another Tyrrell, this one's from 1996, the 024. I found this one interesting because they actually had covers for the suspension in certain races, so they look like wings, the suspension arms. And this is a upswept nose, but it's, yeah, all cars by 96, I guess, looked like this. Okay, this is a 1991 MP4/6. The car that won in 1990 was the MP4/5, but I don't have that model. This is a Lotus 1, what does it say? Lotus 102. So this raced in that year, but obviously didn't win the championship. And you'll notice this still has the traditional nose, these two, where it's just a wing all the way across and the nose cone is blended into it. Same with the Ferrari here. This is from 1991, the F91 late version. Okay. So, yeah, wide tires, shorter wheelbases compared to the giant behemoths that race around these days. And not much sponsorship because Kyosho doesn't like tobacco. So there's no camel livery here. There's Marlboro is missing there, and I'm afraid Tyrrell just didn't have sponsorship. It leads to the question as to why this has Marlboro on it. Maybe the previous owner. Yeah, the previous owner actually decaled this probably. I'm not sure. Or Kyosho may have actually had Marlboro on there, but I feel like it could have been actually customized by someone. Interesting. Alright, well, a little bit of F1 history through 1/64 scale diecast collecting. So, interesting. So, well, I appreciate you watching this, and I guess we'll see you at the next 1/64 scale F1 race. Bye.